What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today, and welcome to a track created by Baked Miner Tours, and that is the 2020 edition of the Ferry Compound. Now, obviously, home to Tim and Evan Ferry. Now, I've not seen a Tim Ferry ride or race probably since watching the Great Outdoors DVDs way back in the day, and I've kept my eye on Evan now and then. Watch a little bit of Loretta's stuff, and it looks like he's doing pretty damn good. I have never ever seen any GoPro footage of this track at all. Didn't even know it was a thing, so kind of came out of the blue. And this isn't like a super recent release. I think it's been out for a couple of weeks now, and it just flew over my radar, or under my radar, I may say. So we're going to check it out, and I'm on a bit of a different bike today, as you'll soon see, which will be interesting. I'll have a little bit of talk about that as well. And it looks like we've got a Supercross track, a Nationals track, and then whatever this is, blow me here, maybe like a small little turn track type thing. But yeah, should be fun. Let's get into it. Right, well, I'm sure you could already work out what bike I'm going to be riding today just based on the thumbnail alone. That was enough of a giveaway in itself. So, let's have a little bit of a talk whilst we get on this national track first and foremost. So, as you know, I've been having quite a lot of grief when it comes to the 450 races recently, the 450 Supercross races. And I've kind of, the last couple of days, been messing about on different bikes, this, that and the other. Still trying my very hardest to stay away from the old Yamaha. That's the most important thing. Oh, I got map and standings and gear. Please come back again. Map and speed and standings have now returned. Okay, so, yeah, I've been having a bit of grief recently. So, I've done some messing about, seeing what bikes I kind of like. I was really, really vibing with the Husky 350 a lot. Aiden's been riding it recently, and I tried it out, and if we take Houston, for example, you've got that really long rhythm section in the middle that goes, like, you single over the left-hand side, and then it's like a quad single. I was really struggling to hit that on the Fantic, and on the Fantic 450. So I was very surprised to see when I tried the gas out, I actually found it very easy, which I just thought was really strange. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it was just a setup thing, and bearing in mind I was using stock Husky at the time. Then I tried the KTM 350 because I completely forgot that it even existed. I don't know why. And again, really like that, even more so than the Husky. And then we've kind of got to this point where I'm on the KTM 450, and I have gone through all four of the first, all four of the aerial Supercross rounds that exist so far, and I have taken at least a second off of all my qualifying times within the space of about 10 laps on the bike. So it's not like I've been, just grinding away at them non-stop, just trying to get better and better lap times, which is enough of an indicator for me to try and mix things up. Now, I've got no real practice on this bike at all in deep eroded stuff. I'm going to throw that out there. It's only really been on flat track, so it could be a completely different story where I hate how this bike handles when the tracks get super deep and the front end is washing all over the place. But in terms of qualifying, I feel like I'm going to be a fairly happy man. I quite enjoy it. It's fairly straightforward. The bike doesn't do too much like weird and wonderful unexpected things, and that's kind of what I want from it as well. Now, I haven't messed about too much with suspension. I've done a click like here and there, and what I've found is the bike seems to have a lot more pop off the jumps than my Fantic setup did, and it just makes like really big rhythms and quads much more easy and a lot more viable to do under race conditions. Because that was my biggest issue, is I felt like I was checking up quite a lot on going like on-off rather than quadding all the way over, or like triple-double out at the end of the rhythm on Houston rather than going quad single. And oh god, I forgot what part of the track I was on. Land it, boing, and we survived. Lovely stuff. Now, you're always going to get weird and wonderful front end stuff, especially on these 450 bikes. They're very heavy. Piboso physics are leaving a little bit to be desired recently. I find myself getting more and more frustrated as the days go on, and I try and practice and grind at the game and just get frustrated with the weird wonky stuff. But I feel like that's part of the game now, is getting used to it and kind of trying to overcome them physics and learning how to avoid it. That's just the biggest thing. You can't let them weird wobbles dictate your speed. You have to try and ride to avoid them, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the KTM so far, so expect to see me on this bike for round 5, which I actually don't know off the top of my head where it even is. But I'm sure a lot of people will be asking why on earth I'm on a KTM in that stream if they've not seen this video, but it's just a comfortability thing. Right now, I said to Chicken, I was like, wait for me to be back in a couple of days, because obviously Chicken makes skins for all my bikes, like the creation skins, and I said I'll be back in a couple of days, probably on another bike, and we'll see how it goes from there. But I think comfortable is probably... Oh, God, I've done that 2 laps in a row. I think comfortable is probably the best word to describe how I feel in the KTM right now. Obviously, it's got the quick shift as well, which I can't utilise too much because I use shift help, so my bike still shuts off for a second. But you can still, like, really switch up the gears a lot quicker than you could do stock anyway. There's still a little delay, but not as much as there would be on the other bikes. And then the place that really helps me out, I feel like I ride most of Supercross tracks in 2nd gear or 3rd gear anyway, but where it will really help me out is going through whoops, because the higher gear you are in whoops, the easier it seems to be. I've been doing a whole lot of whoop practice, trying to work out kind of what feels good and what doesn't, because I think my whoops have been very inconsistent recently, and I think I'm slowly getting there with technique as well. Obviously every whoop section is different, every track there are different scaling, like height or width, like how peaky they are, if they're peaky boys or smooth boys, long boys, whatever they may be. But I feel like I'm slowly getting there, so happier at least than where I was at the end of Houston, just getting a P6 after a very unfortunate leaving the race a lap early because I thought it was over. That is a massive skill issue on my behalf, probably the biggest skill issue I've ever had. I think let's learn this again. I definitely do not think I should have chosen a 450 for this track though. Oh god, it's a lot tighter and twistier than I expected it to be. I definitely should have ran a lap or 2 before I pressed the record button, because I probably would have hopped out on a 250 ASAP Rocky. It definitely has like a really like backyard tracky type feel. Now, don't get me wrong, an American backyard anything, because this is a bloody massive backyard, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's not a super wide track. That's a wall jump again. That's the 3rd lap in a row. God's sake, I struggle so much to memorize and learn tracks when I'm talking. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because I'm a man. I can't multitask. Well, I have no idea, but the track feels pretty good. It feels nice. Definitely warrants a smaller bike, that's what I will say. I would be happy even riding a 125 around here if I'm honest, but I suppose if Evan's the one riding it for the most part, then that probably does make sense. The jumps are very peaky, they do boot you nice and high, which it makes it very easy to overjump some stuff, but you can see the KTM seems to be holding fairly strong. I think the front end by default on this is a little bit nicer than the Fantix was, and maybe the day will come where I give in and ride a Yamaha, who knows. But, oh, did anyone hear that? I just heard a really loud noise from outside. Okay, whatever that was. Moving on. I have to wonder if my microphone picked that up. It sounded like a shriek. Hope no one's getting taken advantage of outside. That would be very unfortunate, but I'll stay in my nice safe room. I'm not being the hero today. I'll keep myself safe. I avoid the danger. I mean, if we want to go completely off topic whilst I spin laps here, let me move over to the Supercross track. Speaking of danger, so where I'm from in the UK it's not the nicest place in the world. You know, you'll look at the paper every now and then and see, oh, so and so has been stabbed in the town, blah blah blah, and it's one of the things that makes me not really want to go out and about too much in my area. So I've been looking for gyms recently, and I've looked everywhere really within like a 10-mile radius of just every gym in the area and what they are, what they consist of, if they look good enough, and they're all just very average. You know, none of them really stick out to me. And one of the ones that did seem the most viable, which is one of the closest ones, but it's right in the centre of my town, where literally you'll see newspaper articles every other week saying someone's been stabbed. So I kind of want to stay away from that, which has kind of put me in a bit of a tough situation. I might just see if I can buy a few very basic bits of equipment and bang them in my rooms if I've not got enough crap in my room already, and just see if I can make the most of some home workouts, because I don't want to be travelling miles and miles to go to the gym, you know. I feel like it makes it more of an event. Like, I can't just hop out and quickly go to the gym for an hour or so. I've been going on some longer walks recently, so today for example my feet are absolutely finished. I was walking for just over 3 hours today. I've done 9 miles in total, which you feel free to pull it in kilometres if you really want to. I have no idea off the top of my head. But yeah, it took me 3 hours and 10 minutes, burnt about 800 or so calories, and it was actually quite nice. You know, I don't usually go out of my way to go that far when I'm out. Usually it'll just be like an hour or so. But for whatever reason today, I felt good and I just carried on walking, kept exploring, finding new weird and wonderful places, found some nice trails, which I didn't even know existed by me, so I'll definitely utilise that again. But all good stuff. I'm just trying to put a bit of mileage on my feet, really, before I go into like the hardcore running stuff. One of my biggest issues that I always have when it comes to running is trying to do too much too early and having some sort of injury in my foot, whether it's like a bone fracture or whatever it might be on the bottom, because I am 27 years old. I would probably say like the last 22 or so years of my life have all been very sedentary. I've had an office job, I've then had YouTube as a job as well, so that it's not really required much up and on your feet all the time. So I definitely need to just put some miles on my feet in terms of walking before I can run. I suppose that's where the saying comes from. So don't run before you can walk. So we're definitely going to do that. And I think I'm going to wait like another month or so, maybe to the end of February, before all of the New Year's resolution crew have quit the gym, and then I'll make a decision on one that I want to go to, and we'll go from there, because I don't just kind of want to build up cardio now. I do want to slap on some muscle as well and just focus on physique more than anything, because whilst obviously motocross you have to be very cardiovascularly fit to do properly, I don't race, you know. I go out practicing every now and then, as and when I can, when the weather's decent. So outside of that, I just kind of want to look aesthetically fit, I suppose. Maybe like that in between, where it's not bodybuilder, powerlifter, but it's also not super skinny cyclist / runner. You know, just that nice middle ground where it's aesthetically pleasing to the eye, as well as being functional as well. Functional strength is probably the best way of putting it. So maybe I'll invest in some dumbbells or kettlebells, something like that, just to keep myself busy at home for the meantime. But yeah, tomorrow I am not stepping foot outside the house. My feet are absolutely finished. Lovely old blister on one of my little toes. I'm sure you really appreciate that information. And yeah, I made the very smart decision to pop it when I got home as well. So that really hurt. But we learn from those mistakes. Now, let's get up and over this. This Supercross track, hella technical, like super short, peaky jumps. I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of it's being made by hand, like rather than in Photoshop, something like that. Because all the jumps look very unique. Nothing ever looks uniform at all. It's not like he's made a single in Photoshop and then put a bunch of them in a row. Like, every single jump here looks and feels different, which in a way I quite like. It adds a little bit of character to the track. It's definitely not a track where you're going to find yourself going through like absolutely pins, you know, quadding, tripling for every single section. It definitely takes a little bit of patience, and again, 450, 100%, way too much overkill on this. But to be honest, I'm just happy to get a fully released track from Baked Minor Tours, if I'm honest, because I'd done a track, I can't remember the name of the track now, I'd done one not that long ago, which was like a work in progress of a sandy type track, like properly whooped out, and I really enjoyed it and was looking forwards to it, and it's not come to light just yet. So we've got this released by him instead, so that kind of it like scratches the itch, I suppose, for the time being, and it is really good fun. I mean, it gives me something else to practice on the 450. It's not all about, like, let's say you want to be better or faster at Supercross, for example. It's not just about banging out Supercross 24/7. You know, you've got to learn your bike, learn what it will do in different situations. I always say that riding the Krackenberg Enduro track is probably one of the best things you can do to improve on this game, because it puts you in like every single circumstance you can think. There's some really roughed out parts of wooded sections that you can treat as Supercross and really work on your rhythm. You've got some just rough stuff, you've got steep downhills to work on your smooth braking. You've got some really wide open sections as well to work out how the bike handles when it's going at a really fast speed. And I've kind of had that opinion across all motocross game. I say all motocross games, I'm just talking about MX bikes and MX Simulator really, is Enduro really are what helped me out the most when it comes to them. And just speaking of MX Simulator, I wanted to record a sim video today on a track that released. It's like a beach race type track. I have done one on an older version of it before, but a 2023, sorry, got me tongue twisted there, version just released on the 4th of February. But there's actually going to be an organised race for it, which I think, for a change, I can actually make. So I'm not going to live stream it, I do want to turn it into a video. I just think it'll be much easier for me that way, and I can cut out all of the boring bits, so to speak. Essentially, the track is about between 3 and 4 minutes long. I think the fastest qualifying lap on it so far is about 2:40. I've done a single 10-minute session. I've got a 3:06. Top 90 qualifier, so I think I should be safe with that 3:06. I'll check as the next 2 days go through, and if not, I'll just try and get a faster time. But essentially it's just 90 players, and it's an hour and 10 minutes of racing, so that should be really, really fun. Like, there's a super long straight on there as well, just massive, wide open, to the point where I've had to change my gearing for this race only, so I actually have a chance, because everyone was completely blowing by me in qualifying when they had longer gearing. But I'm really excited for that. It'll add a little bit of diversity to the content as well. And this video that you're seeing now, I originally was meant to make it like an online session and invite like my Discord to come in and just ride around whilst I'm recording as well, so they'd be able to see like their names on screen and just get their 2 seconds of fame. Two issues that I couldn't do that today, which I was really annoyed by. First time round that I tried doing it, the MX Bikes master servers were down, so it would always say just connection timeout anytime you press on race online without even joining the server. You know, just none of them would show up. So I was like, okay, now I'll go do some qualifying laps on that sim track, and then I've come back now to record again. And so this track's actually been updated. It's got an original version and now this version, and I don't believe that the version that I'm playing now is actually on the MyMXB server list. I don't think it's been updated, because I tried joining my own server and it said that the track was not recognised, or track not found. So that was a bit of a shame, bit of a letdown. So back on myself again, or back by myself again. But it's not the end of the world, you know. I've spun many laps by myself in this game. I'm sure another video by myself isn't a big deal. Where or what direction do we think this track goes? Because there really is like no indication at all, and I do think this is meant to be like a sandy type track, because I'm not sure if you can hear it in the recording, but it's got there's that very distinct sound of a sand soil type underneath your wheels, which I have actually I have asked Paboso to see if there's anything he can do about that, see if he can change it at all. I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't think he ever mentioned it at all, but I hate the sound of sand on your wheels on this game. I don't know what it is. It always sounds like you're about to get a game crash. I think that's probably the best way of wording it. It just makes me stressed, and I don't like it. I feel like sand should sound like nice and soft underneath your tyres, where this feels quite like harsh and almost like you're riding on gravel. You know, when you like walk or ride on a gravel road and you can just hear it crunching underneath you. Sand doesn't really do that, so I'd like to see that change. Just one of them small little things, which I'm probably being really nitpicky about, but I think it's just one of them quality of life things that would make MX Bikes even better. Although there's a lot of, granted, there's a lot of major things that need fixing before we go and work on anything as silly as the sound that your bloody soil makes underneath your tyres. But overall, it's a very unique track, I want to say that much, and I don't want to say that in a bad way at all. Like, nothing is uniform, which I do enjoy. I like that it's all got a bit of character about it. Do not ride it on a 450. I have been an absolute idiot riding a 450 around here. It's way too overkill. But I guess this was also like a little bit of an announcement video for you guys to just see that I'm going to be riding something different in the next in the upcoming rounds. If it goes even worse than my P6 at Houston, if I get like a P8 or a P10 or something like that, then you'll probably see me changing bike again, and then I'll probably end up going back to the Fantic at some point and realising that, yeah, it's just a skill issue, the bike's not going to help me, I just need to get better at the game. So after all of that has been said and done, and the recording's literally reaching about 18.5 to 19 minutes long of me just waffling, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Baked Minotaurs, please finish your work in progress track that I covered before, because I really enjoyed it, and I want to see the rest of it. I hope that it's not something that's been lost or forgotten about. I hope that it's still chilling there and you're just taking a bit of a break or a hiatus from it. And keep up the good work, really. Like, this has been really nice, very unique, as I said, and very enjoyable. And I'm sure you guys watching probably appreciate me covering a free track for a change rather than all the tracks that have been released on the shop, as there is quite some diversity around that whole paid track subject, which I'm not going to get into in this video. But if you enjoyed this one, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I would really appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you guys are up to, and I'll catch you in tomorrow's video. Peace.